All right, what's going on, guys? Sorry for the bad camera quality. I am fixing, charging my camera. Baby's taking a nap. She's whooping my behind today, man. I swear, she's going to work on me. I probably should have took her to the playground today, but I just now started getting energy now, and it's like almost 5 o'clock. And I know I've been staying up late. My glasses broke. She broke my glasses. I somehow still cleaned up. But let's talk about like business and stuff like this. Okay, so I want to make this video because um I know I've been like up and down with the channel. I've been up and down with a lot of different things, and I know it's just me just talking about life and discoveries and what's going on, and how like soon basically I won't be able to continue to do this. Right, I always talk about it, and then I like somehow I magically still make the content anyway because I find something else to discover. um I don't really have that many more topics to talk about besides just being upset and ranting and stuff like this. So, you know, I'm eventually going to have to obviously put this stuff behind again, but this time it's a little bit different because I know I always come back on here and I know I rant or whatever, and I know that the video, like the frequency of me doing this is like getting shorter and shorter because I know I'll post for like a month or two and then erase everything. Post a month or two, erase everything. Post a month, erase everything, or not really erase it, but just make it private. And now I have to go back and look through all this data that I've made to figure out, okay, what's going to be where, because I have to now start building these products and stuff like this for my clients and stuff like this, right? So I do have a book, and I do have trainings, and I have all kinds of stuff. You can probably watch some of this on the channel and stuff like that, but it's not really like you have to watch a lot of it in order to get what you need. You know what I'm saying here? Because it's a lot, right? It's not geared towards just making money, or it's not like a particular topic. And I know how most people are. Most people are unable to process the information, or even what I'm really talking about, honestly, on the channel. Um, but I know I give updates, I give like random stuff or whatever, but it's just, like I have to be more careful on what I'm posting and all the other stuff now. And because I don't really have anything else to look at, I was kind of excuse me. Man, I gotta get over this sickness, man. I swear, because this is like, it's exhausting. Okay. All right. Like, I'm just at the point in my life where now it's things are a little bit different. I know what to do. I always kind of knew what to do, but it was just more like, okay, there's all these other things I'm like figuring out, and I'm have to keep figure out this game that I'm playing. Is it this spiritual game? Who's lying? Who's not lying? What's really happening? But as far as I can be aware, it's just like we're all a part of God, and we all decided to spawn into this this LARP fest, right? Live action role playing game of life, right? That's really what this is. Live action role playing game, except it's called life. And you depending how good you are at the game or how good you are at life, then basically that determines everything and all the other stuff. God's design I talk about. And a lot of this stuff I'm talking about, sometimes I'm talking about it as I discover it. Sometimes I talk about it because I've been in the past with it, right? But a lot of this stuff I don't really talk about as much anymore because it's not really relevant to my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk about betrayal. I don't talk about like family. I don't talk about all this stuff because I don't have any of that stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't have any issues. Like you have to think a certain way. Like I talk about the stories of how that happened, and how these stories came up. But I don't really want to keep talking about these stories because it puts you in a certain energy that you can't really progress past, right? And in order to get past that energy, you have to take a nap, which is really what this video is about. Okay, so you're gonna have to deal with the broken glasses, and you're gonna have to deal with the fact that I'm not going to be talking about certain things anymore because I just can't afford it. It's too dangerous, right? At this point for me, right? I'm going to be risking myself, right? It's like me talking to people that obviously have a 401k, or you are some kind of standard regular normie that you don't really know what's going on in life and stuff like this. Like I'm not risking it talking to that person like that because you're just going to kind of drag me down. And it's not that I don't want to help people. I'm just not in a position to help those kind of people. I'm more in a position to help people who want to take control over their life, who want to have something good going on, and I have to stay within my design. I'm not really designed to help like the regular average normie. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not designed that way, right? Like you're gonna have to have some edge to even watch me in the first place, right? You gotta be a certain kind of person to even watch my shit. Like you gotta be a certain kind of, because like I'm already I'm not really like I'm not really that intense, but if you're like a normie, then it's pretty intense. If you just watching girls dance on TikTok, or you're watching sports or something or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty like, what the fuck is going on here, right? And you have to give your this is really about like you have to give your body a chance to relax. So every time I get like new information, or I basically consume like this big lump sum of information, I end up getting fatter. Literally, like I have a big belly right now. I'm fat, and some people will say that's bad. Like if you're playing the game of the regular normie world, yes, it is bad because you're playing that game. I'm playing my own game. I'm trying to design my own life. I am figuring out what I need to do with what in order to figure out what steps I'm going to take to go where. Um, I came out with the food system. I talked about how to basically manage your money, right? And people just think that this is about money. This is way more than just money. Okay? This is about, for me it is. Like for me, right? If you're just a regular person, you're happy just making 20,000 to 50,000 a month, or maybe you feel like you want to go above and beyond to the next level or something. Like that's like a thing or something. It's not really even a thing. It's not even real. People just made it up. Like people just make up shit. Like, and that's what's exhausting, is figuring out what's real and what's not real, right? Which has really been, my life. I wanted to figure out the truth, right? The truth. And in order to dig for the truth, you're going to have to go to certain places and get data, and I'm so glad that I have the ability to have access to the internet, and that God has been guiding me towards like different locations in order to figure out where to go. You gotta think about it. You're really a traveler. You're traveling to get data, you're traveling to get spiritual information. Is a great thing that the internet exists, but if you don't do it right, then you're not really going to appreciate what the whole point of life is about. It's about discovery, right? And you have to understand that there's these two things in a battle for, right? There's a battle for your soul and your spirit, and that is just a real thing, and people don't really understand it, but it is real. And you can look at that in all kinds of formats, whether it's like consciousness, and people trying to put you to sleep, right? You can be made aware, but people trying to put you to sleep. You're rich, which means you're aware. You're poor because you're unaware, right? The only reason people are actually poor is because they can't think. They can't think because they're being suppressed on purpose a lot of times, and sometimes it's self-induced. Sometimes, if you, this is a belief. I don't really, some of the stuff I know, some of the stuff I don't know, I cannot confirm after you die that you'll come back here. I cannot confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works, because that's the whole game. The whole game is to install as much trauma and issues into you so you can't really leave this game. So you're just stuck playing this game over and over and over. But while you're here, you have people trying to hurt you as much as possible in order to keep you here, right? And that sounds scary, but it's just what it is, right? Like that's really what kind of what's happening. Um, if it was just about business, then I would have been like great already, right? Oh, I'm making money, everything's happy. No, I have to worry about this. I have to figure out whether or not there's actually ants living, like insectoids. If that's a thing, I have to figure out if reptilians are real. I have to figure out all this stuff. Intention matters in a lot of this work, relationships, hobbies. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I do understand the people who are committed to just running their business. There's nothing wrong with that. I do understand the people who are committed to running their spirituality. We all have to stick to our design and what we're trying to do. My design just happens to be trying to figure out the truth of what's going on, and then putting it together in a pragmatic format, so that way then I can figure out what to give to my family. I then basically regurgitate some of that stuff on here, right? So I talked about the food strategy, how to invest, what's fake, what's not real, right? Like, so even investing in anything but yourself in training and education is a waste of money. It's a waste of money. Besides training, education, and relationships, it's just a waste of money. But people don't know. They think that they're doing something sometimes. You know what I'm saying here? They think they're doing something. Like, even, let's say that I decided to raise money from like 1,000 people. I said, okay, as long as you guys come up with all you all have $1,000 or $5,000, right? Give me $5,000 for 1,000 people and I'll go invest it. What we're really talking about is investing in a relationship with me. I know you're thinking about the investment of the property, but you're really talking about a relationship. And while you invest in this relationship, you're also getting the benefits that come with the relationship, which is the project that I'd be working on. So, like, that's how you got to think about it. So that way you really look like, do you really trust this person? Or because if you just look at the investment, you're missing the entire point of the person who controls the investment vehicle, right? So I'm saying this because it takes a while for your body to actually get acclimated to this stuff. It is not easy to adjust to this, in my opinion. Maybe everybody else does adjust to this easy. They go to sleep, they hear instructions, and they just go. I'm not like that. I have to feel it. I have to absorb it. I have to pray. I have to do like a lot of different things, meditate. I have to kind of relax. I got to do a lot of stuff in order to become this new version of myself, which makes me very dynamic, which I didn't really understand that until somebody told me. They're like, oh, you're like, you change a lot, you're dynamic, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just figuring out what works and then I stick to it. That's pretty much it, right? But that's the game. You have to actually, once you figure out what to do, you can kind of like design your own way of doing it, right? You're still operating within God's design, but you are doing it your own way. Okay. Um, Like even me talking about God's design, like you got to watch a certain video and even to know what the fuck that is, right? Like you got to dig around for that because I'm not going to explain it every time. And it's like I probably should just be making some of these like I should make a program about this stuff at this point because the videos aren't going to really make sense. And on top of that, you actually need these things to be successful. Like you actually need them. If you're not doing it, you're not going to be successful and you're going to be have issues. There's a story online, and okay, I'll talk about the napping in a second. Okay, there's a story online talking about how Jeff Bezos has basically invited all these other millionaires in a room so that way they can network or whatever it was, and they were just like, why am I here, what am I doing? And this is basically something that happens when you have your needs met as an entrepreneur because you really didn't expect to have the money, you didn't expect to have the success, you didn't expect to have all these things given unto you, but then even when you have all these things you realize all the other things that you had don't really matter. Okay, like all the things that you already have while you're poor are the same things that's going to matter while you're rich. What is that? Relationships, family, being happy, just minding your business, right? You don't really need to have a business to do that. The issue with having a business is that and being a regular person is that basically you can't just work for a job. You know what I'm saying? That's like the issue because the job people don't really give a shit about you. So you have to take more control and you have to have more autonomy over yourself, right? So you have to get more educated because of that, right? Because if you want more control over your destiny, you're going to have to do these other things, and unless you want to spend a life of servitude, right? Like, do you really want to spend your life basically just working for another person, which is fine. There's actually nothing really wrong with that. The only issue is we don't really have a society designed that way, and it's designed that way kind of on purpose to keep you in a fear state, which is not right, right? So if we had something where there was things where people could fall back on and whatever, but it's like for example, we should have some kind of unemployment thing where basically if you are unemployed, you'll still get some kind of check to get back on your feet, but then you can still get jobs from this unemployment kind of thing, right? You're a government contractor or whatever the thing is, but then you have to make sure that the government isn't going to abuse it either, right? So there's like all these things happening, but the whole game should be that you should be trying to rise up the ranks and raise your level of consciousness, raise your level of awareness. As you're getting more aware and more conscious and more sophisticated, you then now can become the leader for others, right? Which takes time. And you have to step up and do it, even though I don't want to do it. I really can't stand it because I don't really like leading people, but that's a part of life is that you have to be a mentor to others. You have to guide people. And by doing this, you're making the world a better place because you're sticking within God's design. God's design is for you to raise your consciousness. It's not for you to stay where you're at and stay struggling and all the other stuff that people go through. It's not designed for that. Life is not really supposed to be that way. So what people are really asking for sometimes when they ask the government to take care of them, what they're really asking for is for not growth. They're asking for people. They're asking for, and it's like it don't got to be like hell the way it is now, right? It's almost like hell because of the amount of abuse mentally. You know what I'm saying here? The amount of abuse mentally that's happening to them. When really you could just start your own business and then you're good to go. right? And then people are forced to be better because you can compete now. Anyways, let's just go to the naps, and then I'll basically like kind of finish the video. Okay, so um, when you are reading a lot, or you're learning a lot, or you're doing all these things, it's going to be shaping your identity. Over time, you have to basically have the right identity in order for you to achieve the right outcomes. If you do not have the right identity or thought pattern, you're not really going to be successful. You're just not, right? You're not going to be able to command reality if that's what you want to do, right? If you want more money, you're not going to be able to do it because you're not going to believe in yourself. You're not going to understand what's going on. You need to have the right worldview, which is essentially an identity, right? You have an idea of how you look at the world, right? If you look at it via the wrong way, if you look at it spiritually too much, you're going to be poor. That's just how it goes, right? Why? Because then you're thinking about things from a spiritual lens, but we're not. The spiritual lens is not really here. We're living in a physical plane, right? We can have heaven on earth, of course we can, but until you actually step up and raise up the ranks, how can you expect this to happen? You can't. So that's why most spiritual people, they don't really have money, because they don't understand. They think you should just give it away. You can't give it away. The whole game is to make people pay, so they learn the importance of investing in themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they can rise up the ranks. But if you try to do everything for free, and I'm spreading the info, it's great. And it sounds like you're doing the right thing, but you're actually not doing it according to God's design, which you have to get the interested people. It's not just about people. Well, everybody knows now. It's like, but I mean, everybody knows about the flock cameras. Everybody knows about the data centers. What are they doing? Nothing. They're not doing anything about it. They're just sitting there whining. It's about finding the important people that are going to really step up and be the spiritual leaders, and then go out there to the world and charge. You don't got to be a $10,000. It'd be like $500 or something. Just something. Charge something, so that way you can know that people are actually interested in this information. Otherwise, you're just getting anybody. They come into the door, and now you're dealing with all riffraff people who are not committed to learning the craft of whatever it is that you're teaching. If we're teaching spirituality, they have to be committed to actually learning the craft. If you're teaching marketing or business or sales, you have to be committed to learning the craft. You have to be committed. You have to be a craftsman all the way up to an architect eventually, right? That's the whole point of growing up the ranks. That's the whole point. And while you can just skip and just make the money, that you're missing the whole point of it. It's the development of yourself, development of the spirit, Solomon's temple, like whatever you want to call it. You're talking about this, your spiritual development of yourself, you coming up the ranks and becoming a better person in all ways. And that's really what all life is. That's all it is. Just be the best version of yourself. And sometimes you're going to want to take a break. There's nothing wrong with that. Take a break. Go to vacations for, you want to take off a couple years, go for it. But if you're living according to your design, you're not really going to want to take off a couple years, because you're having a great time living life. And I can honestly say I've not been serious about my business ever since I started it, whether it was real estate or any other. I've not been serious. Why? Because I'm just focusing on just having a great life. I'm having a great time. And since this is over, like I said, since a lot of this stuff is over for me now, I'm like, okay, well, let's grow the business. Now I'm in a season of growing my business. Let's grow this business. Let's grow it as large as we can, as far as not income, but relationships, right? I'm eager to build relationships with the congressman, with the police, the fire department. I talked about this shit in the beginning of January. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff I've been talking about. I'm eager to do it. But the whole point is that there's a time for it sometimes. And sometimes you need to get certain data so you know how to approach certain things, right? Of course, you can just pay for it. You can pay for the consulting and the coaching and then just move. But I'm a little more slow, and that's okay, right? And the point is that some people are slower. You have to know that. So it's like, okay, if I'm a slower person, okay, what do I need to do? I need to feel it. I need to absorb it. I need to go on a vacation, and then I sleep, and then take a nap, and then it's like I'm good. That's like what I'm talking about. Like, I have to go through all these steps in order for me to let it become a part of my identity, which is real transformation. Just doing the behavior isn't really transformation. You understand? This is like basically a lot of the guys, they look for dating advice and stuff like that. They try to figure it out. How do I get girls? It's like you're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. This isn't about you getting girls. This is about you developing yourself and understanding that you're a catch. Are you trying to become a catch to a woman, or you just want to have sex with them? Okay, well, what makes her want to have sex with you? What is it about you that's nice? You get it? It's the development of yourself. All this stuff has to do with the development of yourself. And when you take on that new role or identity, it takes time. Like, for example, I have mentors that I don't really think they know what they're talking about anymore, right? At one point, I'm like, okay, you know what you're talking about. I got some new data. I'm like, they don't know as much. And it doesn't mean I'm better than them. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm like, I can't really listen to them in the way I was listening to them before. Okay. Like, I'm watching this one training right now, and this guy's talking about, he's talking about like trust and stuff like this, right? Which I was talking about last night. And that data confirms something to me. I'm like, okay, all right, I get it, right? Okay. And then I'm looking at all the spiritual people, and I'm like, okay, their minds aren't built for this. Okay, they're not built to. Spiritual people are not built to make money or to really run a business because it's too logical for them. For a very spiritual person, it's all about feeling, and that matters because when you're talking to them, it's important to use the right words. I bet you're feeling like this right now. That's sales training. Are you feeling like this? Like, yeah, actually, I am. That's going to have a bigger effect than a person who doesn't feel. A person who runs business is not really a feeling person. They're more of a doing person. You know what I'm saying here? And for me, I'm more of a knowing person. I know more than most people. Doesn't mean I am better than them, but I know more than most people. Why? Because I'm a knower. That's different. There's like this stuff matters, right? This stuff does matter, and it's stuff that's really not talked about, but it's very real. And like, you'll have one person that knows about something, like maybe that's their subject matter expert thing, but they won't really know about other things, but they'll feel it and they'll do things, and you know what I'm saying? They don't really know. And it's not really their job to know. But it's my job to know because I'm the knower. I'm the knowing guy. Right? That's what I do for my business. It's my job to know shit. Is it my job to do all of it? No. That's why I hire people. Okay, look, I know here's what you're supposed to do. You go do this. Okay, go do it. Go do what I say. That's it. I don't need to do because I hire people to do. I don't need to feel because I hire people to do that too. It's my job to be absolute. That's my job. And it took me a while to understand that because it's very rare for people to kind of like know this stuff. Like, people don't talk about things from a strategist perspective. They talk about things from the doing perspective or the feeling perspective or some kind of administrative perspective, never the strategist perspective, which is the final move. Right at that point, we're designing reality for others, and it's like you don't have to do that, but like, let's just say that you're an engineer. You're an engineer and you've been engineering products for years. At some point, as the engineer, you're going to be like, we're going to do this now because this works better because of X, Y, and Z, because I've been doing this for years. Why? Because you have the most knowledge, and now you are directing everything else, which you start to design how everybody else behaves because you got the superior thought pattern at the moment. Okay, doesn't mean you're a brilliant person or you're magnet. It just means that you're the person who is not in charge, but you're the brains, right? And as a strategist, you have to be the brains. You have to be. You have to be the brain for others because they don't know how to think. So you have to basically be developing people at some point, and that's something people don't talk about. When you're really watching the channel, you're really watching self-development. You're really watching the development of your spirit because I'm developing minds, right? And take a sip of this. Okay. Because if it's just about money, it's just do the marketing, get the clients in the door, close the clients or whatever. Yeah. Have a hook, a story, and an offer, right? That's what people say when you don't really need that shit. Right? That's what they say to you when you are the architect or the strategist, and then you are telling people this is what you do. You just, but you don't really know if it's the truth. You don't know, right? And it's not the truth. That's not the answer. Hook, story, offer. That's not the answer, right? That's not the answer. All the shit that these people say isn't the answer. The answer is alignment. That's the answer. Answer is alignment. That is the answer. And I know that these guys have billions of dollars and they're richer than me, but They just don't want to tell you, or they don't know. So it's one or the other, right? So, but I know that alignment is the answer. That's always the answer. That is always the answer. Alignment with what? God's design. Alignment with your desires. Alignment with your emotions. Alignment with how you decide to work with people. It's all has to do with you knowing what you want in your life, identifying what's happening in your life, and then it all coming together at the same time, which is alignment, right? The people who really understand that, they know what's going on. They really know. But you're going to have to look at magic. You're going to have to look at spirituality. You're going to have to look at psychology and a bunch of other things in order to even kind of put it together. And then figuring out how to manipulate it or figuring out how to control it is different too, without violating anybody. Because once you know how to do it, you could basically do anything, but it's not right. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have integrity. It's a lot of responsibility. But the point is that as I'm looking at more of this spiritual information, it's becoming more a part of me over time. So I know what I'm looking at now. Now, when I see something on the news or I see something that I'm watching that I know is bullshit. Oh, okay, this is bullshit. Okay, this is bullshit. Okay. This is actually worth looking at, right? If you just focus on your business, you're probably okay, but then you're really not understanding what's going on. Because a guy like me is going to show up and put you out of business because I know what's going on. You know, that's the point. You know, but it's just a big MMO RPG. We're all playing games. People are not playing according to their character set. Like, let's say they're a tanker. That's something me and my cousin and other people used to play the games or whatever. He was like, he just always volunteered to be like the medic and the protect guy, because nobody would pick it and we would end up losing because we're all just trying to have fun. He's trying to win the game. I'm like, oh my, okay, so let's actually try. And he always whooped my ass in them games too, man. That's one thing. He was a hard opponent on these games, man. I'll tell you that. It is a pain in my ass on that stuff, but I always had fun because he always like figured out these little new gimmicks or whatever it was. He would just figure out some shit over time. Maybe I was just retarded, right? Maybe I was just that retarded. I don't know, right? Anyways, the point is that when you're playing this game, you have to operate within the design of the character. If you try to play outside of the design of the character, what's going to happen? You're going to end up like, okay, I'm powering up all my strength on a tank person. Why? You're a tank. You're just supposed to sit there and take hits. Your job is to sit there and take hits. That's your job. But no, I'm going to be an attacker. So why don't you just pick the attack person? You get it? But when we come here, you're already the character you are. Just learn to accept it. Be yourself. But that's the whole game. The game is about you not being yourself. That's the point of people trying to keep you asleep. They're trying to keep you from discovering who you are. The more you discover, the more you're gonna be like, hey, I shouldn't even be doing this. This is like stupid. You know? And maybe you still do it, but you're not going to be doing it for long. You know? Could I be a farmer? Yeah, I'd love being a farmer. I'm like, yeah, as long as it's not over the top, but I'd love being a farmer. Have my little audio book out there, do what I'm doing, do my studies, milk the cow, right? All the stuff, right? I'd be doing the same thing I'm doing now. Reading, listening, connecting, having relationships. That's who I am, right? I like to work, right? And your workers are not going to stop working. And, a person who likes to develop relationships is not going to stop developing those relationships. And the point I'm trying to make here is that this stuff starts to become more a part of you over time. As it does, you're going to change and you're going to start being different because you're changing who you are. It's changing your makeup, right? And I know not to attach myself too deeply into the role of, like, for example, when I'm listening to Santos right now. He's big on not making people pay. That is one of his belief systems. That is not my belief system. Anytime I don't make people pay, I get upset. Anytime people are not paying or buying, I get angry. I get upset with me. There's a part of me that gets angry. Why? Because I feel like if you really wanted this, you would like buy it or something. You should be willing to invest in yourself. Right? So whenever I'm doing something for free, it makes me feel like, it makes me feel icky. So I'm like, okay, give me $1, give me something, like do something to show that, there's some reciprocation here, right? That you actually appreciate me here. How do you do that? You can show up with some money, right? It's not a big deal, but like that, it matters, right? And people will tell you always about money all the time with you. And it's not really, nah, it's not really that. I wouldn't mind just showing up, but like I need make it make sense for me. I make it make sense for others. Hey, if you give me 10,000, I'll help you make like 20 grand a month or whatever. Really? Like, yeah. Yeah, why not? I mean, whatever. They're gonna be super rich for like for 10 grand. Come on now. Right? That's like that makes sense. When I buy gifts for people, I make it make sense for them. I think about them. I put the effort in. I do the time. What are they doing? They just, oh, here's like a card or something. It's like, come on, man. Doesn't even make any sense. You put in any effort at all? No. Okay, well, you know, but it makes me feel like icky. So because I feel icky, I have to figure out how to stop feeling icky. Okay, why do I feel icky? Because this is not enough for a person. Okay, these people are not really, they're not really like committed. How do I find a more committed person? Okay, what number is going to make a person going to be like, this makes sense for me to test the waters. $500 for a consultation call. It's really a sales call most of the time, right? But it's a consultation call. That way I know that okay, it sounds like you're ready for this. Sounds like you can do this because you actually paid. So you paid, that means shows that you're interested. So let's see how much more interested you are, right? See how committed you actually are. $10,000 or whatever the number is, 5,000 for your business, whatever it is, right? Okay, and is it worth it? I mean, how committed are they? Are they just a course person? Or they just want to talk? Like, what are they looking for, right? They come to the store. What are you really looking for here? And that's an issue with this whole Santos and stuff. And I'm not criticizing him, but I'm just giving like an example because I'm watching it right now. Okay, when you start in, there should be levels of commitment that people are committed to. Are you really committed to being a teacher? If you want to be a teacher, is this level of commitment in order for me to be sure that you're serious? That's it. It's like it's $10,000 or whatever the number is. This way, I can know that you're actually committed to this craft and that you're going to be serious about X, Y, or Z. That's it. It's not really a big deal, right? If you are not as committed and maybe you want to come a part of the group class, come a part of the group class. That's 5,000. If the group class is 5,000, it comes with the same thing as the one-on-one, but it's 5,000 and it's in a group. You can still ask questions. It's the same experience. Okay. Or if you want to look at this on your own and you want to read on your own and you want to do this stuff on your own, it's $1,000. Okay. Why? Because it helps me keep the lights on. It helps me figure out what's going on. It helps me do this and that. Like eventually, like you have to tell people that like this stuff matters because like, hey, look, I did a lot of research over these years. I've sweated and died over this, and I'm like, look how I'm living. I'm living in like a shack or whatever. Like, I'm not saying he does live like, you know what I'm saying here? Like, you don't want to be figuring out all this shit and then people, oh, I'll give you $2. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Right? And see, that's not always have to be 10 grand, something like that, right? That's where like business owner price. If you're a regular person and you're just trying to learn, hey, look, we have something for $500. This will get your feet wet. And, then it's another $500 for this next module. So that way you can then figure out if it makes more sense for you to continue this journey. After you invest around maybe $2,000 over the course of X amount of months, you might be ready to have this call, figure out if you want to be a part of the group program, because then you are actually ready to then become educated, like fully educated, right? Like you are getting educated. Okay, for a person watching these videos, right? This is probably the lowest value that you would probably have getting from it, even though it's a lot, but this is the lowest like value you would get. Why? Because it's free. It's on here, right? Like I talk about everything that I talk about on the paid, but it's not geared towards you. You know what I'm saying here? You can't answer you can't get all your questions answered. You can have some questions answered. You can have some ideas answered, but you're still going to be in the dark, right? Until you start working with me one-on-one, then you can ask all your questions directly, all this stuff directly. And then what happens? You're beginning to come to the light. And then it's like, okay, well, you came to the call. We asked your questions. Okay, great. Now what? I'm interested in going further. Okay, you're really looking to become a master at all these things. Yes. Okay, well, come on and I'll show you how to do this. Right? That's different, right? So that's see, learning and being and doing is different, right? And it has to be. I would say take more naps. When you start getting in this stuff, and you start to feel stress, go take a nap. Take some naps. structure some napping, structure some happy, like you're going to want to think happy thoughts that you're learning this stuff, and you're going to want to take naps and go on a vacation. You know, hey, go on a vacation now, go do this now, go do that now. Like, and I'm guiding you towards this next version of yourself, right? And then when you one day you're going to be like, oh, I think I got it. Like, yeah, that's it. Okay, you there? Okay, good. Let's, and I'm gonna test you, right? And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's like the whole thing, right? And it's not like even like I have past mentees or whatever. This is we're just talking about the development of the human spirit ultimately. That's really what we're talking about, and that take time. That takes time. That takes time. People don't know it though. It just takes time. So, anyways, you want to take more naps, and you want to um, think happy thoughts. I mean, shoot, like at one point I was even saying sex magic, hey, go get some cheeks or whatever, go do whatever, right? But not now, right? Because I know better, right? But this is just this is a part of life. It's a part of life, right? And you have to be able to identify what's happening with your emotions and everything else. So anyway, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit of a rant for me, but in order for you to get the proper upgrades, you need to be napping. I mean, that's just what it is. You need to be napping. You need to be able to take time and know what you're looking at. I've seen enough of Santos's videos to say, okay, no, yes, no, yes. Right? You know what I'm saying here? Like eventually you're going to get like that. And even me looking at marketing stuff right now, I only dare looking at a couple of people's stuff. Only dare, right? I'm always going to be with Kimrick for sure, right? But I know where to put a limit on that. I know where to put a limit on Ryan's information. Ryan Dysart, I like his stuff. Doberman Dan, I love his stuff too. But I know where the limit is. I love Dan Kennedy stuff. I know where the limit is. I know where Jay Abraham stuff. I know where the limit is. The point is, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know your limits. You're supposed to know these limits. You got to know when to stop. You got to know, like, okay, this is it. It's over, right? And it's not like you're stopping. It's not like you're stopping the relationship. You can still buy from them, but it no longer aligns with where you're going. You know what I'm saying here? Like somebody that gets to training from me, not really going to watch these videos like that. They may just watch just for to watch, but you're not going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, this is like for noobs. Like, yeah, of course you're supposed to nap. What the fuck? You know, of course you're supposed to go take a nap, right? That's what it eventually becomes. Of course you're supposed to take a nap. I mean, what the fuck is Carl's talking about? Oh, of course you're supposed to be getting the right leads in the door and doing the right marketing. Of course you're supposed to be doing it. What the fuck is he talking about on his channel, man? Of course you're not supposed to be around toxic people. You get it? So, because eventually it's like, man, so this is really for the noobs. Like, yeah, it is, right? Even though it's real information, it's still good. It's for the noobs. It's for the people who are really fresh in, but it's really just a thought out of my head, right? And I have so much content. I don't even know how people are even watching this shit, man, but they are. But it's time for me to basically just start to put this stuff aside and try to figure out where what is next, okay, which I'll talk about in a second, and I'll talk about that on maybe, I'm sorry, not a second, another video where I'll talk about basically how to slice up your business a little bit. And you have to know what you're doing. If you don't really know what you're doing, you're just going to end up wasting your time, including with the naps. Okay, you got to know how to take the right naps. You got to know how to take the right naps, man. That's the game. All right, see you.